We just got some new information and leaks about the upcoming Assassin's Creed story for the next game. Let's get into it.
Today I got a lot of exclusive info from one of my Ubisoft contacts about not just Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also stuff like HEXE, Invictus, and how a certain character may be coming back into this world too. So let's talk about what I was told by my sources, then we'll get into the whole broader Shadows and Ubisoft Tencent story later on. So let's start with HEXE. As I previously reported in other videos, it's a game that takes place in Europe, specifically in Germany, but you're playing a female assassin in the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, originally this game was supposed to be about the Salem witch trials, but from what I can tell now, the story has been changed significantly since then. Firstly, the main character was originally named Elsa. However, from what I'm being told recently, senior Ubisoft developers are currently kicking the idea around to rename Elsa to Annika instead. So Elsa's new full name is currently Annika Adler, and the game's plot takes place between 1520 to 1540 AD. And Annika lives in a region called the Black Forest, which is in southern Germany, and she lives with her mother, who is a midwife, so she delivers babies and such, and her dad is an executioner, which has staying the family's legacy, because obviously this means Annika's dad kind of, kills people for a living.
Alright, so let's take everything he says with a grain of salt, because I can't verify what he's saying is correct. But if he is, I am glad that we're getting a game in the Roman Empire. I've even said before, this video even came out, that I would love to have a game in the Roman Empire. I would have liked it, during more Julius Caesar time, right after Odyssey or something. I think that would have been better. But unfortunately, we're going to get it in the Holy Roman Empire. Now, when he sat there and said, oh, this was supposed to take place during the Salem witch trial, honestly, I would have rather had it take place during the Salem witch trials. That would have been way better, I think, than taking place during this time. But you know what? Hey, it's still okay. We're playing as a female assassin. There ain't nothing wrong with that. The one from Shadows worked out very great. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess that this guy's going to throw a fit about having to play a female character. Let's find out.
If he doesn't really want to, so her parents' jobs, if you can tell, they mirror life and death. She also has some siblings, although I don't know the names of these siblings. So Annika Adler keeps to herself most of the time and likes to be alone and to mostly separate herself from her family's legacy with the whole, execution thing. As I'm told, Annika is very family-oriented, and her family apparently tells her to not trust anyone outside of her family due to how others treat people during this time with, burning people at the stake. But the story all changes when a local baron dies, and then Annika is then accused of killing this baron with what the locals call magic. I have no idea how Ubisoft tends to create this magic in an Assassin's Creed game. If I had to guess, they're going to tie it to all of the pieces of Eden and the Issue artifact stuff and the DNA with, everyone being connected to it. But a reminder, of course, Odyssey was easily the most fantastical and Issue-connected game in the series yet. I mean, you were literally playing a superhuman half-Issue warrior with a magical spear that fights human hybrid monsters in that game. Yeah, I know, Odyssey, while fun to play and all that, it was barely even an Assassin's Creed game at times, and more so just kind of a full-blown fantasy game, really.
He is very correct about Odyssey. The only reason why that they slapped the Assassin's Creed name on it was because they didn't want to create a whole new IP. If they would have took the Assassin's Creed name off of it, it would not have sold as well as it did. And it probably would have gotten way worse reviews than what it got, to be honest.
So this kind of seems like it's doing something similar here with Odyssey. I'm assuming that Annika, obviously, like every other Assassin's Creed hero, has a tie to Issue heritage. So maybe her magic is some sort of technology that she doesn't understand that is tied to her heritage, since all of the mythological things are explained this way in the series, like Thor and more, that rhymed by the way, but this apparently gets Annika caught into a Templar conspiracy. Anyway, back to the story. As I'm told, this apparently gets Annika caught in a Templar conspiracy because she is accused of using magic. Again, the game takes place, according to my source, well before the Salem witch trials, around 100 years before that happens. So Annika is accused of being a witch, and then Annika is then pursued by a hooded man who works with the Templars, and this hooded man is called Mephistopheles. Maybe this is the main villain, I'm not really sure, but anyway, Annika is then ironically poised to be executed herself, which yes, her dad does that job, so you can see how this is kind of complicated, but Annika, of course, breaks out of her prison, and ends up excommunicating herself from her parents, and now fully embracing the name that the public has given her, which is the Witch. Annika then fully embraces her newfound powers too, which are again magical Issue stuff, so I don't know what that entails.
Yeah, most likely it's going to be Issue artifacts like you're saying. Now, I actually am excited that they're finally bringing back the Templars, because we haven't had the actual Templars since Syndicate. This will be the first time, so finally we're getting the damn Templars back. I've been waiting for a game for them to make to where it switch from the Order of the Ancients to the Templars. I actually would like a game where they actually become the actual Templars.
Exactly yet. I would assume she can influence guards to kill one another or something like that. No idea if she's shooting lightning out of her hands like Palpatine or anything like that. But the crux of Annika's journey is to liberate her family, clear her name, and hunt down her oppressors that have blacklisted her for a crime that she didn't commit. The game will then, according to my sources, jump months later and Annika will eventually come into contact with the Assassin's Brotherhood. Because obviously when the Hidden Ones hear of a woman who can use Isu powers, they probably want her on their side. Then the Assassin Brotherhood trains Annika and reveals to her the whole Isu backstory stuff, you know, Adam and Eve from the second game, Pieces of Eden, etc. Obviously, a lot can happen in the story here, but I'm giving you the bullet points. And then apparently Annika will eventually, in time, splinter off and leave the Assassins as well, and that she neither considers herself fully an Assassin ally, but also doesn't want anything to do with the Templars either. I'm told the gist is that Annika is supposed to represent some sort of third faction, if you will, that could maybe rival these two groups that the series has come to know. So for now, let's just call the three groups Assassins, Templars, and Witches, I guess.
Okay, I don't like that part. Why are they going to create another faction? There's no reason to create another faction. I mean, we've had games after this. We've never heard of this other faction, so that's just going to be stupid.
Funnily enough, these three groups also cover the basic RPG class setups of Rogue, Warrior, and Mage, but maybe that's by design. Annika then leads a revolution in Germany by inspiring the peasants of the world to revolt against their oppressors and free themselves of Templar rule while also being wary of assassin influence. But this newfound persona that Annika Adler takes on, it apparently ends up making her a very powerful and oppressive force, since she is both trained by the assassins, but doesn't really trust them and also wants the Templars gone too. So you can see how this could be complicated, and yeah, I gotta agree, this is interesting stuff that I'm being told here. But this new witch persona turns Annika into a boogeyman, if you will, because now she is, as the game starts fully proper now, an alienated figure within the Holy Roman Empire. She is also disconnected from her family and the Brotherhood, and of course the Templars want her dead. And the general idea of the game is that Annika Adler has to wrestle with how far she wants to take this witch persona as the game progresses. If she wants to fully commit to it and be seen as a monster that preys on the oppressors from the shadows or whatnot. Also, apparently Annika has a cat, and the cat is also playable. I have no idea if this cat is also magical or anything, but I assume that the cat is going to be like the eagle in previous games, but I assume that the cat is more so used for smaller recon on like the floor levels.
Okay, I really don't want to play as the cat. We don't need that in Assassin's Creed game. You know, I wouldn't mind it being like how the eagle was in Odyssey and Origins, but please, Ubisoft, do not sit there and give us the cat to where we actually have to do missions with it. I am begging you not to.
As you can obviously slither through small cracks and over fences and spy on Templars or whatnot without them noticing you. And I would assume since Annika has weird witch Isu powers, she can just hear what her cat thinks and sees, I guess. I do think it would be funny if the cat had combat against like smaller rats in Templar armor. Imagine if the cat was stealth takedowning a rat and another rat turns around and is like, what was that noise? Yeah, I doubt that'll happen, but it would be funny and kind of adorable to see. But anyways. Also, if you were wondering, yes, there were witch hunts during this time period in the 1500s, but they weren't called the Salem witch trials, obviously. So this whole idea of witch hunts and burning people at the stake, this was still happening during this time too. Actually, according to Wikipedia, witch hunts began in the early 1400s and they didn't actually stop occurring until the late 1700s. So yeah, this game falls right in line with when the whole let's burn people at the stake for being witches idea, so this does check out. In terms of how the game works, like I said in my other exclusive on this in another video that I did, HEXE will be more linear driven. Still open and such like other games, but more so the actual structure of the game will be like Metro Exodus. So you will start in southern Germany, I assume, and then you can explore there, but once you do the main quest, this will then lock that area out for you, and then you will move on to the next section of the map. From what I understand right now anyway, is that you cannot currently return to any older areas once you have passed the main quest that moves the plot forward.
I actually like that. I like linear games. I'm not a huge fan of open world games anymore. They're just too big, overblown out, and I just don't enjoy the open world. It just take too long to do it. Just not my thing.
Maybe that will change in the future. I mean, they could always take old areas and then add new missions for Annika to do later on in the game, but as of right now, it's very much like Metro Exodus in design. I was told during the presentation when HEXE was being shown off to people that the narrative director of this game specifically highlighted how women have faced challenges in video games and the struggles that women continue to face today in society. So I was told by these sources, this was seen to them as a red flag that the game will be to some degree a feminist-charged video game. Although, now that Tencent is a part of Ubisoft, which I will get into later, this could all change, of course. I won't say the narrative director's full name that's working on this game, but her first name does start with a K, but I was told her full name. But I won't say her name because I don't want her to be harassed. But the game, as I'm told, has strong feminist themes and perspectives. But this is the part of the story that I was told where I went, oh really? So, let me tell you this now. Apparently when Annika meets the assassins, she gets trained by none other than Ezio Auditore himself. Of course, by this point, Ezio is a master assassin and is also a very old man. This would be the Revelations version of Ezio specifically. Revelations, by the way, that took place between 1511 and 1512. This game starts in 1520, and we know that...
Hey, I actually am excited for Ezio to come back. Out of all the protagonists, I love Ezio. Ezio is the best assassin in the whole Assassin's Creed lore. So I have no problem with coming back as a mentor to train the someone new. And I got no problem with playing a female. You know, hey, Stellar Blade was awesome. You play as a female there. You play as females in a lot of Final Fantasy games. You don't ever see anybody throwing a fit. There are many great JRPGs where they have female-led characters and it's perfectly fine. Now, I would sit there and actually trust and believe you when you sit there and say that it's going to be like a feminist-driven game if you actually knew what that meant. But the problem is, unfortunately, you'll sit there and call a game woke, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, when it's really not that woke. Just because there's a black man as Yasuke, well, Yasuke is a black man, but just because they have Yasuke in the game doesn't make it woke.
Ezio passes away in 1524 due to a heart attack in Florence, Italy. So Ezio is going to train this Annika Adler to be an assassin before his, timely demise in this series. And the home base, so to speak, in this game is also called the Synod, and from what I hear, Ezio is a retired assassin at this point, obviously, and he just wants to leave the Assassin Brotherhood in a better shape before he passes away. So Ezio will be in this game according to what I'm told. And yeah, he will train this new character Annika, which is really cool. HEXE, I'm told, is not even in its alpha stage yet, by the way. But I was also told to be wary because the game makes the Templars, and specifically those of Catholic religious prominence, to be the main villains of the plot. And this game is going to be very heavy-handed to paint the Catholic people specifically as monsters who kill people and such without even bothering to ask questions. And yes, the majority of the villains, as I'm told, if not all of them, are going to be straight white males too. So you can see the feminist Ubisoft angle here still lingering, but again, now with Tencent a part of this new Ubisoft, we will see, guys, but this is HEXE as it is right now. And for all we know, Tencent will maybe force them to change everything about this. I also got told that Annika is canonically lesbian, and also Annika is personally chosen by Ezio to be someone that he wants to lead the Brotherhood in Europe because according to what I'm told, Ezio sees Annika as a new way forward for the assassins.
Okay, so far everything you said doesn't make it seem like it's going to be a feminist woke-driven game. In Assassin's Creed 2, the final boss was the Pope of all people because the Templar infiltrated the highest person around at that time. And if you look at during this time setting, who's the most powerful? The Catholic Church is the most powerful. So it would make sense that the Templars that she's going up against are going to sit there and be a part of the Catholic Church. And who were mainly the leaders of the Catholic Church? Oh, that's right, straight white men. So that makes sense for the time period. You know, you're throwing a fit that they put Yasuke in there in Shadows and they're saying it doesn't fit with the time period, it's not historically accurate. So they actually are doing a historically accurate game now for the bad guys, but now you don't like it. You got to pick and choose what you want, my guy.
And at one point, he does ask Annika to dance with him. I don't know if this is at like some kind of party or something, but this is only so that he can tell her how amazing she is, because she's this witch and girl power stuff. So yeah, the game is supposed to pass the torch, so to speak, from our fan-favorite male character Ezio, and then try to establish this Annika as the new Ezio, so to speak, going forward. Will the fans accept that? Will they even want this? Do fans think Ezio saying Annika is the bestest ever is dumb or not? I guess we will see. But that's what I got on HEXE. Next is Invictus, but this is a...
You never know. I don't know if we're going to sit there and accept it or not. You want to know why? Because the game hasn't come out yet, so we have no idea how the story's going to sit there and handle. Now, if she's a whining, crying little feminist baby, then probably not. No, we're not going to sit there and accept it. But I think that you're just thinking of it, oh, because there's a female lead, that this just happens to be a feminist-driven game. But with Tencent's not all about that feminism, so I'm hoping that Tencent will sit there and stop them from doing that. Either that, Tencent's going to let Ubisoft continue what they're doing, the game's going to do poorly, and then Tencent's just going to hope that they can buy out Ubisoft from out from under them.
A lot shorter. So we already know this game is coming. Invictus, by the way, is a multiplayer game set in the Assassin's Creed franchise, but as it was explained to me, Invictus will be pretty much, just to make it as plain as possible to understand, it's For Honor, but replace the playable characters with fan-favorite heroes like Ezio, Bayek, Alexios, Arno, and so on and so on. Yes, even Yasuke. And the idea is that the game takes place in the Animus, of course, and then players become these figures from history to fight in combat simulations across different maps. And each hero, of course, has their own skills, tools, and playstyles, and because the For Honor people are making this game, you can already imagine and see how this would all work out, I'm sure. You're Ezio, I'm Bayek, I guess, so maybe I hit harder, but you can move faster, or maybe you can poison me, and then you duel it out to win. I'm also...
I might try it out just so I can sit there and play it, and of course I would pick Ezio or Altair. Altair is my second favorite, just something about Altair that I really like. But Ezio, nope, Ezio's number one all the way. Nobody will ever beat Ezio. But I have a feeling that they'll probably make Nawe, since she's the fastest. She's probably going to be overpowered because of her speed. She's probably going to be able to dodge everybody, if I'm being honest. But I don't see this game doing as well as, per se, like a Marvel Rivals, for instance. There isn't enough characters in there. I don't even think we have 32. Well, no, we might have close to 32 characters to pick from, but I don't think it's going to have the backing that a Marvel Rivals will have. To be honest, I don't think it's going to do as well.
That the Black Flag remake is pretty much a one-to-one remake. However, this might piss you off, but I was told that Ubisoft are going to be removing what they deem to be problematic elements out of this Black Flag remake. I have no idea what that would even entail, because to the best of my knowledge, what exactly was problematic about Black Flag? Maybe you guys can let me know. Maybe Edward Kenway being a womanizer, I guess? But I mean, the guy's a pirate, so it kind of just comes with the territory, or maybe the whole slavery angle. But again, slavery was everywhere during the golden age of piracy, so I'm not really sure, but expect a full-blown remake of Black Flag to be announced soon. But apparently they may be removing things they think will anger the activists, which I already know is going to piss off so many people, but I'm just telling you what I was told. Also, the Prince of Persia remake, from what I'm also told, is really good. It's shaping up very nicely, and it is also a one-to-one remake of Sands of Time. This project specifically, a lot of people at Ubisoft are really happy about. That's what I'm being told, and that they have really high hopes that people will absolutely love what's being done there. They've apparently improved a lot of things with the Sands of Time remake, so I expect better combat and much more, but yeah, it's a one-to-one remake, just like Black Flag. No mention of anything problematic being removed either, so that's great to hear. But okay, now let's get into this whole Tencent Ubisoft wombo.
Hey, I'm excited for both of the remakes, but you know what? If they take out the womanizer and the slavery part of the game, I mean, those two parts didn't make the game good anyways. You take them two out, the game's still going to be great. So why would everybody be throwing a fit about there? Like, do we really need to have slavery and womanizing inside the game? Come on here. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. I'll link this guy's channel down below. Don't send no hate, but let him know I sent you. Give him the respect he deserves. And until next time, guys, stay vigilant.